Be still, go deep. What you sow is what you reap. Be here now, where one is known, where life's fountain always flows. Be still, be still, be still, and know. Be still, be still, be still, and know. Om Ganapatiye Namaha, 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 Om Ganapatiye Namaha. Be still.
Be still and know God. Last night and today, it's the autumn equinox. It reminds us of all the rhythms of nature. Reminds us all the rhythms of nature that can be taught to us at the time of autumn equinox. The number of hours of light and dark are equal. It is a time of balance. Time for us to balance our lives. It's also a time to gather the harvest and take stock of what we might need for the winter. It's a time to take stock of our inner harvest. To celebrate and reflect. You might ask yourself, what have I done well lately? What have I coped with? What am I grateful for? What is the fruit of my living? What is the harvest of my soul? This autumn equinox comes at a time when summer is over. Those high energy activities, hiking, biking, vacationing, are beginning to slow down, beginning to feel that time where we do a little less. So we're in that time and place of balance. Balancing what we seek in our lives and balancing that we choose to release in our lives. We've all arrived here coming in from different roads, different threads bring us together in this time, in this place, where we can be. We can be at peace in our bodies and our minds. We can be at peace with the gladness that we feel for all that we have done well. We come together with intention. We seek to know, to be assured, to be made glad. We come to be in a moment of solitude in the midst of others. We experience the place of solitude. So today our meditation will be a little different. I'm going to invite you to use the power of your imagination, your creative energy. I invite you to follow along, using that creative energy to know and experience that is set forth. So imagine as you arrive here today, there is someone greeting you at the door and inviting you to take off your watch and put it in a basket, to hand over your cell phone, letting go of those outer distractions that we call time and place and space, to be. Imagine. There are no distractions. Imagine. There's no multitasking. Imagine there is only being here now. Thomas Merton says that there's a pervasive form of contemporary violence, and that is activism and overwork. We rush here and we rush there, and we feel the pressure of doing this and doing that. And so I invite you to take that deep breath, to allow yourself to be, to surrender to that doing. Surrender. Allow yourself to be. Allow yourself to be neutral. Solitude. It's not a luxury. rise of peace, of the importance and the growth of our soul. Important to let go of stress. Important to be. As we allow ourselves solitude, we are wise. And in this place of solitude, we become peacemakers. In solitude, we find answers to those questions that we have. And after service today, instead of racing off to this or that, I invite you to walk the labyrinth. To walk the labyrinth and contemplate balance. Balance in all that we do. And now I invite you on a deeper journey. Just imagine, if you will, as you arrived and turned over your phone and your watch, that you were given an apple. You were given some leaves. And it is here that you come in a dance of balance and a dance of being in this moment. Now I invite you to take a bite of the apple. Feel the texture and the sweetness, but at this time, don't swallow. Just hold it in your mouth, visualizing this. Visualizing it so clearly you taste it. This is a symbol for the bountiful harvest that we bring in our hearts. Holding that bite, recognizing that it is about to tumble into the stomach, where there are acids churning. Before long, become molecules, and those molecules become part of us. And now, we are one with the apple, just as the apple is one with us. A few minutes ago in our vision, we saw a whole apple, and we bit into it. It became part of us. And the only thing that changed was the time. So much of life is measured by time. We can let go. We can let go. And you recognize as you partake of the apple, you get down to the core. and you stop. You're leaving something behind. There's energy. There is energy in what you have eaten, and there is energy in the core, that you are leaving behind. And I invite you to do the leaving behind with an awareness. And that you choose to leave behind, just write it on the leaves. And as you finish, just allow the leaves. Let them go, let them spread throughout the area. And now reach into the core of that apple and pull out the seeds. And you recognize that there is a rising of energy as you hold the seeds in your hand. And I invite you to bless them. To bless them with that you wish to experience. Bless them with your wishes. Bless them with your desires. Bless them. And I invite you to continue to hold them and bless them with the sound of Om. Just do that out loud without concern of those around us. We Om. Blessing our seeds. Blessing them. We bless the seeds and the activity and the intention they have in going into a place of rest as they're planted in the dirt, in the deep, dark dirt, and they rest. And they pour power into their resting, into the soil around them. And they hold our wishes and our hopes and our truths. And then in the spring, we know that they will begin to germinate, putting down roots. And they will thrive and they will grow and they will bloom. And they will produce just as we do. Gently hold those seeds and the blessings. And again, in your mind's eye, go to a place and plant them. Bury them. Bless them. Be grateful for them. For they are a reminder of the cycles, seasons of life. They are a reminder that we come. We come to be actively engaged in life. And we feel the activity. And in this moment, our activity may be about doing. We're moving into that time of being. We are grateful for the cycle. continues round. And we balance, and we love, and we live. And in this place of silence, of quiet, go within and ask if there's anything we are ready to hear or know in solitude. What a joy. What a peaceful moment. What a knowing to come together in togetherness and in solitude. There is that moment of balance, and that's where we are. We are balanced. We are whole. We are complete. We allow ourselves to return to this time and space, celebrating, harmony. As we return to this time and space, just look around into someone's eyes. And we send and radiate love. And we are grateful. Amen. I'm grateful for our Unity singers and all that they bring to us. Kind of stiff today.
As long as I'm holding on, I'm never gonna fly. Until I spread my wings, I'll never know. I'll carry around this shell until the day that I die. But now is the time for letting go. If there is anger in my heart, I let it go. If there is doubt that ties me down, I let it go. If there is weakness in my thought, I let it go. I let it go, let it go, let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. To be forgiving, I must forgive myself. What is truly me can never tell a lie. Each a miracle, a part of all the rest. Born to the earth, but with the will to fly. If there is anger in my heart, I let it go. If there is doubt that ties me down, I let it go. If there is weakness in my thought, I let it go. Gonna let it go, let it go, let it feel the madness. Right now, I call your name. Right now, I stand in peace, washed clean by the rain. If there is anger in my heart, I let it go. If there is doubt that ties me down, I let it go. If there is weakness in my thought, I let it go. I'm gonna let it go, let it go, let it go. I'm gonna let it go.
Great, awesome music. So, the meditation was about balance, about it being the autumn equinox. And with that, we recognize that there's the letting go of one thing and the coming of something new. Now, last week, I talked about, what did I talk about last week? Anybody here? Okay, so I talked about habits of people who are wealthy. And I'm continuing that talk, but I want to start with this piece about balance. Life is a balance between holding on and letting go. We like to hold on, and we have the opportunity to let go. Now, I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but the number one growing business in the United States, anybody want to guess? Storage units is the number one growing business. We all want to go out and buy that stuff, and then we don't necessarily want to let go, so we hold on to it, and then we have to get storage units, and we have to get storage units. Oh, and then maybe we need another. I had a friend who had 5 storage units. She hadn't been in them in years. Finally talked her into going into them. They weren't the climate-controlled kind. And all that stuff that she'd been saving because it belonged to her mother and her grandmother was no good. It had just deteriorated into basically nothing. So we get attached to that stuff, and it doesn't serve us very well after we've held on to it for a long time, right? So Charles and Myrtle Fillmore realized that it was important for us to be intentional. And this is their dedication and covenant, and I know you can't see it because it's way too small, but I wanted you to see that we do have a copy of it and that it is written in their hand. And Charles and Myrtle said, "We, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, husband and wife, hereby dedicate ourselves, our time, our money, all that we have and all we expect to have, to the Spirit of truth, and through it, to the Society of Silent Unity. It is being understood and agreed that the said Spirit of truth shall render unto us an equivalent for this dedication in peace of mind, health of body, wisdom, understanding, love, life, and an abundant supply of all things necessary to meet every want without our making any of these things the object of our existence. That's saying that they were trusting God to provide for them, and yet they were putting God first. They weren't forgetting the importance of truth. So are we willing to understand all of that is available to us? They wrote this in 1892, and they lived this. They truly lived this. They didn't take a salary. They lived at the village, and everything was just provided. They had a cafeteria there. They chose to eat there or at their mother-in-law's, who lived across the way, because Myrtle had her house built without a kitchen. What a woman. Charles Fillmore says that poverty or prosperity, it all depends on you. All that the Father has is yours, but you alone are responsible for the relationship of the Father's good in your life. Through conscious recognition of your oneness with the Father and His abundance, you draw the living substance into visible supply. That is to say, what we focus on, we manifest. One of our 5 principles. What we focus on, we manifest. We draw things into our what we focus on, we actually draw it into living substance. We manifest it. So today I want to talk about that piece that many of us don't like to talk about. I'm going to talk about the T word, tithing. Ooh, everybody just go ahead and shake if it makes you shake. And if it doesn't, great, because it shouldn't. It shouldn't make you shake, because tithing is an important piece of activity. And so in Luke 6:38, give and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, it will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure that you use, it will be measured back to you. That is, that what we give with love, focusing on God, comes back to us. What we give is a part of who we are. It's a part of the cycle of life. For we know that if we dam something up and never let it flow, it would begin to stagnate. We need the flow to continue. We need to be able to release, to receive. We don't want it sitting in a warehouse and turning into dust. So some of the habits that I talked about last week of wealthy people. They read every day. They watch little TV. They network. They volunteer. They talk less and listen more. They set aside limiting beliefs. They keep positive. They have mentors. They exercise. They know their purpose. They think long term. They embrace change. They embrace change. They continually learn and grow. They're generous, and they focus on increasing their gold. Now, I know how much we all like change. I've heard y'all talk, oh my gosh, change. I don't like change. I may want something new, but I still don't want change. So here is what we're going to do. I'm challenging you today to go home and take a garbage can, either in your bathroom, your kitchen, your bedroom, and move it from one place to another. It's a simple thing. But then I want you to notice how many times you go to the old place. How long does it take for you to adjust to the change? It's a simple exercise, and it's very telling. I do this periodically just to watch myself, and I can spend a lot of time go in the wrong direction for that garbage can. How long does it take you to embrace the change and to get it into your body, into your movement? And it's important in our brain as well, because it creates those new creases in the brain as we fire new neurons. I didn't think they were neutrons. Where'd that come from? So we want to create those new neural pathways in our brain that keeps us young, that keeps us moving. So if we're going to receive the lesson of giving, taking, the cycle of life, prosperity, we want to change to see where we are, to look at what's happening for us. So we move that trash bin and we see. Now, we looked at those habits of highly successful people, and now I want to look at developing a habit of giving. So you see, we give to continue that cycle going round. And the first thing is that we understand that everything comes from God. So hoarding is creating stagnation. We don't want to hoard, we want to keep the flow moving. And when I talk about tithing, I'm talking about time, I'm talking about energy, I'm talking about talents, and I'm talking about your money, your finances. Now, sometimes it can be hard for us to begin a practice of tithing. I remember early on hearing that from one of my spiritual teachers. If you think it's difficult to tithe on $100, then think about what it's like to tithe on $1,000. And if you think it's tough to tithe on $1,000, go on to that next and the next amount, and just keep going up. And so what happens when you get your first million? I trust that many of you would be so excited that your first stop would be here at the church to tithe. Because it's fun to tithe. I know many of y'all do tithe. I mean, I see that you do. I don't look at amounts. That's never been important to me. But I see that you tithe. I see that you are here and you're about that. Do you get joy from it? Yes? Let me hear that. Do you have joy? Do you receive joy in giving? Yes. Thank you. I do too. So we want to develop that habit of recognizing that all that we have comes from God. If you think you want more love, give more love. If you think you want more time, give more time. Give so that you may get the flow moving and continue it moving. Jesus said that we can't serve two masters. And what's that mean? Is it wrong to have money? Oh, have you heard in your past that money is the root of all evil? Anybody hear that? Because that's not what it says. It says the love of money. The love of money. So if we are putting money before God, if we're holding that piece of gold before God, then we are having another master. So it's important that we recognize God first, always. And as we learn this new habit, it's important to establish an amount to give away. And I'm here to say that if it's uncomfortable for you to tithe on the amount you receive every month, just start a practice. Start a practice. Start giving. If you have to start small, that's fine. It's fine. Just begin your habit. Set that up and know that you're going to give this. And if you don't feel like you have anything to give or any way to do that, come talk. Because I will invite you to look at how much you spend on that coffee a week that you stop and buy at Joe on the Go or whatever it is, or at Starbucks or those different places, or how many sodas you buy. You know, you start adding these $1.50s up. You can give up one piece a week, one soda a week, $1.50. Give it a try. There are many ways to begin the habit of developing a tithing practice. Live within your means Not everybody wants to do that. Many of us have succumbed to our advertising world. Do we have a good advertising world or what? I'm telling you, I went to the store a couple of days ago, and I went for two things. And I got to walking around, and I saw this, and I thought, well, I really need that. I mean, I don't have that piece of jewelry making tool. I think I need it. I thought, well, what have I done all this time without it? I've done just fine. I don't need that. But they set us up to want. My car runs just fine, and the other day I saw a new one, and I went, oh, that's prettier than mine. So we get set up, but if we live within our means, incredible things happen. And Dave Ramsey has a great course on that, and maybe somebody would want to offer that here at the church so that you can see. If you're in credit card debt up to here, it's a real clear way, not easy, but clear way to take care of that, and that's to take care of your smallest debt, and once that's paid off, apply it to your next debt, and when that one's paid off, apply it to your next one. Before long, if you keep paying off with those pieces that you've completed, you are out of debt. It's a wonderful feeling. Of course, Dave Ramsey believes that everything should be paid for with cash. So it's, I don't know that I agree with every piece of it, but it is a way that we get a handle on our spending. And I think that's very important. And we need to trust God to take care of us. Over and over and over, we need to trust God to take care of us, to believe it, to experience that God loves us, to experience that every aspect of your life is an expression from and through you, from God. And it's all right to trust. It's all right to test God. You know, it's all right to do that test of God by starting your tithing. God loves us, and God does not require that we do this. It's just one of those easy ways that we can see God at work in our lives. There's many ways that we can do it. This is one of those ways. Did you see it real quickly? I had a friend one time, he said, I started a tithing process, and every day I ran out to the mailbox to find my check. I was looking for the check I was given so I would receive. So every week, there I was. He said it took me about 6 months to realize that I would to quit giving to get, but to give for the joy of giving. To give for the joy of giving. So one of the pieces is that in this tithing process is that we need to let go of judgment. We need to let go of judgment so that we're not judged. We need to forgive. And as I always like to say, the hardest person to forgive is ourselves. I don't care what's happened in your life. It is difficult to forgive ourselves. We always hold ourselves responsible. As we develop a tithing practice, as we develop our giving, as we develop a habit that we want, it's important that we don't sit and wait, that we get out there, that we feel life, that we really experience the sun, that we get ourselves all the way in the water and get wet. It's about getting out there and living life, being fully present, that we serve for the joy of serving, that we allow the prosperity of life to flow in and through us, to be us, to be us. So Charles says you should expect prosperity when you keep the prosperity law. Therefore, be thankful for every blessing that you gain, and be a grateful giver for everything. Be a grateful giver and be thankful for the unexpected treasures that drop into your lap. This will keep your heart fresh For true thanksgiving may be like a rain falling upon the ready soil, refreshing it, increasing the productivity. Have we seen that around here lately? Yeah. So I invite you to look within and see if you are a constant and steady giver. See if you want to increase that just a little bit and experience a little more to life. And if you don't have a tithing practice, I invite you to begin one and see how that feels for you. Write that check with joy. Write that check with the love of God in your heart. And remember that life is balance between holding on and letting go. God bless you. Namaste.